Hey everybody, welcome back to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 625 for April 21st, 2021. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Waldreth.
And tonight's episode is so filled full of Apple goodness that you can call me Brett Mossberg for the entire episode, if that's okay with everybody.
Didn't he used to play football?
No.
In the Canadian Football League, sure.
That aside, we do this every week, most weeks, and you can find out when we go live for our podcast recording sessions or anything else we choose to do. Some plans for that in the near future, I think. We should start streaming some more stuff. But hey, go to pcper.com/subscribe. You'll get an email that lets you know. We try to do it like an hour before we go on. So you have time to prepare. Get yourself a snack, grab your favorite beverage. Just make a night of it. You and us. Together.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Support the site at patreon.com/PCPer. A new member, Brett?
You know, we do. And this is someone who said he's been enjoying the show for a really long time and would like to get on board and help support us and help keep the lights on, pay the bills, you know, keep the train a-rolling. His name is Imaginos. I tried to put a little gravitas in that. Did it work? Imaginos. So thank you, man.
Wasn't he like the star of Imaginos, Hands of Fate?
Didn't he star
Master.
opposite? Wasn't that? Oh, you're thinking of Mysterio, the Spider-Man nemesis.
Manos, Hand of Fate. It's the worst movie ever.
Yeah.
Created, funded by a Texas fertilizer baron.
Yes.
And if you think that I'm joking, you're not. You need to go watch
you have
Manos.
to watch it.
And what was the Torgo
Torgo.
with the incredibly
Master.
disfigured knees. Yes. Yeah, you'll need to go watch Manos.
If you thought
Hands of
Plan
Fate.
9 from Outer Space was bad, believe me, you've got a treat.
Proving you never know where this show will go. Stay tuned.
Well, we know where the show inevitably goes, unless Josh lets us down. Burger update. Josh, please tell me you had a burger this week.
I did have a burger this week, so I teased out a little bit earlier, and it's like, you know, the burger special today is called Glazed and Confused, and take from that what you will. And you know, I thought going into this week, I talked to somebody and I said, wow, you know, he's going back and forth and talking about burgers. And I thought, you know, I wish kind of we had a Five Guys here, because sometimes you just want a regular cheeseburger. You just want the basics with ketchup, mustard, pickles, onions, cheese, double patties, and just,
Ketchup,
you know,
lettuce on a sesame
maybe
seed
some
bun.
seasoned fries. And yeah, and then this happened. The Glazed and Confused. This is a double cheeseburger. So 2 patties, 2 slices of American cheese, topped with bacon, sandwiched in between 2 glazed donuts. That's... I read the description and what it was all in it, and I had to forego the fries and just go straight to a salad, because this is so incredibly unhealthy. This is like probably 2,500 calories in one burger. And so this has been my only meal for the day, and it will be probably until later, far later tomorrow, because I'm glazed and confused. And it was good. It was, you know, salty with the beef and the American cheese and the bacon. It was savory, and then you add that sweetness of the glazing, as well as kind of the, you know, the bready, nutty flavor of a donut. And it is a unique experience. I can't do this again for a long time. That's probably why they offer it only once a year.
Oh.
It scares me in a way that nothing since the KFC Double Down has.
Yeah.
Josh, I just got word that the podcast next week is sponsored by Colon Cleanse.
So I'll be planning my funeral soon.
Don't do that. You have to stay alive so you can
I'm
do
sorry,
things
George.
like help us analyze the latest Radeon drivers. Because the new drivers, whenever they drop, they're obviously the big story of the week. And in this rather subdued podcast we've had so far, I think it's perfect to transition into a story about graphics drivers. But hey, it's more than just graphics drivers. It's new features. It's Adrenaline 21.4.1. And
I'm on
I
it.
feel like I'm in motion just looking at that picture.
I know, isn't it? It's
Yes.
just there's a lot going on here. And
Yes.
they've got let's just go through some of the talking points here. Customizable
Let's.
installation options, enhanced recording and
Well,
streaming
kind of.
functionality. Well, I mean, they had to
Yes,
compete
as
with
far as I know, yes.
NVIDIA. They're trying to bring the total software package together. They're missing one key component I mentioned in here, but they've got AV1 support, which is actually hardware support in their
Oh.
GPUs.
Yes.
And there's a new AMD Link now lets you do remote gaming on Windows PCs in addition to phones, tablets, and TVs. So they're trying to be as feature complete as NVIDIA here, I think. And simplifying things a little bit. I know that performance tuning is a little bit different. I haven't played with it yet. But people are reporting good things at least. Color deficiency correction is a new one. They had a few slides that I present here. You can do custom installation, the simplified recording and streaming thing like NVIDIA Studio but no, I don't think they have any of the camera stuff. And they're enabling the AV1, which is hardware, in the RDNA 2 graphics cards. And anyway, the notable exception here is Fidelity FX. So that's still not enabled. That's still coming. Otherwise, this would be pretty feature complete as software packages go. Or am I wrong?
They do one thing better than NVIDIA does.
Which is?
Hardware monitoring. I've got my entire CPU up there now. Because I meant to update this so I could actually take a look at it and, discuss it in a reasonable manner, or at least an impression thereof, but I didn't get around to it until today. And no, one of the things that I liked about it is that when you enable it, as you'd expect, it's got your frames per second if you're logging in a game. It's got your GPU and your VRAM, but it happily monitors the voltage, the current, the temperature, my peak clock speed of the 5800X, and a token about how much RAM is being used at the time, system RAM. So that's actually kind of nice to have because it's presented in an easy way. Some of the other ones don't do it, and you can immediately start logging, and it'll actually give you, at an interval of your choice, a long log of how you've been doing. So that actually kind of impressed me. It's kind of nice to have my processor being presented right there inside of my graphics driver.
I'm glad that AMD is again stepping up in terms of features and giving users more things for free through software updates. That's a big positive. It helps them. It helps their partners. But of course, if you've been watching Newegg prices on Radeon 6000 series, the partners and distributors don't need a whole lot of help right now because it's awful. How's my color? Is it too bright? Do I need to turn it down? See, that's better. Now I
more
can really
natural.
see the red come out as I'm angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. More
I see it.
balanced.
Yeah. A little bit more ruddy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's nice to get things for free. And, it's interesting that, we get these new drivers out. And, of course, what's the thing that they announced for Xbox Series X? The Supreme FX? What was the thing that they announced today that they're giving, upgrading Xbox?
I thought it was
There's
part of Fidelity FX,
free
but no.
games of some sort.
I think it is Fidelity
Or the other one.
FX.
Okay.
They're opening that up now to developers on Series X, X and S. But
Which makes sense.
That's a
Same architecture.
positive.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they can already take advantage of DXR So it's a nice thing to be able to do the kind of resolution scaling.
Yeah,
with
so
that.
AMD's kind of, doing some positive things for consumers for free. And we need that. And, for the longest time, NVIDIA's been the gold standard for drivers and software. And so it's good to have competition. Now, if they had a good competitor to NVENC, because that's such a killer app. I know they have streaming support in here, but not like that.
Let's take a gander. Yes, it was Fidelity FX.
Yes.
For Xbox.
FXR or FXSR.
Yeah, well, right. FSR.
Yes, but I'm trying to socialize the name because I want to get it out there that AMD has a cool name too.
Laying the
Really
groundwork
Xbox?
for super resolution. A DLSS competitor.
Yes.
Except it doesn't rely on AI, right?
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah. So I have
resolution
no idea
scaling,
how they're doing it.
sharpening.
Yeah.
They're using Microsoft's built-in ability to do it. That's how they're enabling it. It's coming straight out of Microsoft's OS.
Are you being sarcastic, or are you talking about?
No, I'm not. No, it's really true.
Okay.
No, that's
It's
how they're doing it.
rebranding, resolution scaling.
Well, not exactly.
Via DirectX.
Well, then
they're using
what it is.
Microsoft's enabled ability to handle it, and it does have a certain amount of. I believe this is a couple weeks ago, but it has AI in it.
Everything has
But it's-
AI in it now.
Yes, it does, including our
Even
sponsor.
my cat.
You know what else has AI in it? Apple's
vaccination.
Apple's M1 processor. We buried the lead. We are 20 minutes into our stream here. We're probably about 15 minutes into the podcast proper at this point, and we still haven't talked about the iMac. Apple,
Hooray.
a few years ago, infamously, asked, what is a computer? They'd given up on the desktop. And the iMac had looked the same for years, this flat front with a bulging back and whatever the latest generation -1 of Intel processors was, and latest generation -1 of AMD graphics, because they won't work with NVIDIA anymore. And you don't have to worry about that anymore, because Apple is shedding Intel left and right. The latest, I think the only thing left, besides the older iMacs, is the Mac Pro, right? They haven't actually released a M1 Mac Pro yet.
The 16-inch MacBook Pro. I'm pretty sure they're still selling that. Higher-end iMacs and the MacBook Pro.
So it's just the 13-inch MacBook Pro, Mac Mini, and now iMac.
Which replaced the 21.5-inch iMac. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I haven't done any research into the actual dimensions of these things, but the new 24-inch, because it has smaller bezels, I'm guessing the footprint is not a whole lot bigger than the 21.5 was.
You are correct. They've made the screen larger and hit at that 24-inch size, but they've done it in about the footprint of the 21.5 due to the decrease in the bezels. You are correct.
The bezels, which are all white. These are, of course, available in 7 different colors, including the standard, plain silver aluminum. And so we're back to 1997 again with the different, like the Bondi blue and the indigo, and kind of making the desktop fun again. This friendly, fun, thin thing that's ultimately kind of like an iPad Pro with a bigger screen on a stand.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, they all have the same processor now. Even the iPad Pro, which we don't have to talk about that too much, but the iPad Pro has the M1 in it. This has the M1. I was curious about the fact that they're offering 2 different configurations of the same M1, because you can get this with an 8-core CPU and 7-core GPU, or 8-core GPU. And the 8-core GPU costs more.
Couple $100, yeah.
I thought M1 was just M1, and you chose how much RAM you wanted.
Hey, when you have chips rolling off the line that don't have all of their GPUs capable of operating off of the chip, what do you do with some of those? You create a new SKU and just say, this one has 7, because that's all that came out of the oven working. I don't know. It's smart. All the manufacturers do it. I'm not down on them for doing this.
Oh, I'm
they
down.
put a lot of money into making this. Okay, well, Josh is down on it.
I don't know. I've been pretty down on Apple stuff for a while, and this is just kind of silly, and it's very sort of refreshing looking to me. I can just see this as being for a family that has shifted away from a desktop, and I feel like most people are on laptops now. My wife lives on laptops and phones. The only reason she uses a laptop is because work provided one, and otherwise she's on her phone exclusively. Any of my family members I can think of exclusively live on laptops. So the idea of putting this one somewhere where the family can get to it, even if they just use it as a big screen, I'm interested. I want to hear it. They claim the speakers are really good. We'll see.
They put a lot of effort into that. I mean, they talk about it a lot. Counteracting what they're calling subwoofers to reduce resonance and increase the throw and the spaciousness of it. And they're comparing it to multi-speaker, high-end Dolby Atmos. This I got to hear. Oh, yeah?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a hard one to believe.
Every laptop that we cover, every laptop PR talks about their Atmos sound now.
Well, you know, it kind of sounds almost like a description of 70s hi-fi stuff that you just went through.
Yeah.
But look,
quad channel, moonbeam.
But look, the power,
triple quartz, rock. Yeah,
vital for a desktop experience. The power connector is magnetic. You need that,
dude. That's
obviously
thick.
Oh, but you know the power cable also incorporates the Ethernet, so
not on the low end.
I know. Isn't that weird?
I wanted to bring this up.
Josh.
Bring this up. You go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know.
I just he was on the switcher, so I went back to him. Yeah, it's they don't show this in the pictures. Like, what are you getting in the box? Let me try to find that. I'm of course on their press release here. They use a power brick like a MacBook Pro. They use a power brick.
Kinda. They're old monitors. They're old, like I'm trying to remember, era 2012, 2013 era monitors. Also had a brick, external brick, a lot like this. They had a it was they were the only one that used it, and they had to power the monitor, and this is the way they brought in the display as well. So they've done this kind of thing before, where they've double used the brick to bring in data at the same time and power the monitor. So this isn't the first thing, for them. But I wanted to point out that the low end, like you were talking about, not only has 2 Thunderbolt ports on the back instead of 2 Thunderbolt ports and 2 USB 3, the power brick does not include the gigabit Ethernet port on the low end, as well as there's some 7 GPU cores, like you were talking about, and I think less storage. I think it's like 256 or something like that. I have to go to the page and look, but
yeah, 256. You have to spend $16.99 to get the one with the 512 standard, and there's no information about pricing on the memory upgrades, which are upgradable up to 16 from the stock 8 gigabytes in all configurations stock. Even the $1,699 model only has 8 gigabytes. So I don't really understand that. I mean, I do, because they make more money by giving you less RAM. But
I mean, the appeal of this, I'm not sure I understand, because I'm just not in the market. So it's for other people, I guess.
Right, because it's an M1 powered Mac, and that's not your bag. Your bag is, we homebrew Intel powered Macs. If nothing else, I love Apple embracing the M1 just to shut down all the Hackintosh people. Because you know what? If you have good PC hardware and you don't want to run Windows, there are so many flavors of Linux that you could explore. It would blow your mind. Don't worry about Mac OS. Just irritates me. I used to like.
We're gonna have a conversation.
Tiger. I'm glad you finally come to this realization.
But we're gonna have a conversation
every year. Mac OS strips out like pro level features, like power user features. Bits. It strips out legacy support, and it just pushes you down this narrow iPad-like path where everything has to be iOS. So
I'm proud of you, Sebastian. No, the first step on realizing you're in an abusive relationship is admitting to yourself that you are the victim and not the abuser.
That's stunning and brave. It's stunning and brave that what they're doing. They're not hurting anyone.
This side of the podcast here,
he's still in denial.
This is my support. I think this is interesting to me anyway. Let's look at the colors. The colors. All right, let's move on. All right. Anybody have anything else to say about this? It's the same processor we've been talking about for a year now.
Well, buy a Mac Mini. Buy a Mac Mini and a 4K display if you really want this experience. Stretch your dollar. Get an iMac and a 4. No, Jeremy, if you really want this experience, preface, rest of statement, buy an iMac and a 4K display. I can't imagine who this is for unless they're just appealing to people who want to have a weirdly colored Mac.
If you truly
you're just
be the camel
bitter.
that's bricked.
I knew you would be bitter too, Brett. I knew
I'm
it.
not
But it's
bitter.
like buying heritage
dismiss it.
tomatoes.
Not a lot, just maybe a little.
Am I muted?
Yeah, I like heritage tomatoes.
No, what's the
Yeah, I
heritage
mean,
story?
they're grown. They're grown and they're special, and they don't use any of that other DNA from Monsanto and other guys, and so you get the pure beefsteak heritage tomatoes by buying this colored iMac.
Yeah, well, it's the beefsteak tomatoes I got the problem with. Screw the flavor. We want them big and to ship them.
Big. We like them big and round. Double up.
The only thing I have to thank them for is to finally fix that stupid remote for their Apple TV. How many times did they screw that up? 8 times.
So it's aluminum and not glass this time?
Yeah, they got rid of the
No,
glass
it's-
panel. That's glorious.
It finally has an end. It's not like which end is.
What do you mean finally? This looks like the Apple TV remote from 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Nah, not
Where-
quite.
So do you have
one
blue
dedicated
painter's
buttons.
tape on your remote at home, Sebastian?
I did until
from
it got
your
lost.
Child? I'm not talking about you.
Surprisingly, look, here's the
Sebastian.
real the Apple TV remote lives in the couch somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where. It's always in there. It's always between cushions, in between the arm
Just
and
burrows
the
in.
base.
It's cold.
And it's so slim,
machine.
and it's all
Bitcoins
aluminum
you got.
that it just slides further and further down when you're trying to find it. It's a pain in the neck. So I usually kind of just work around it, use the built-in apps on the TV instead or something. But
These are its selling points, friends. Like, understand, this is what sells these devices from Apple.
you know the new AirTags were created so you could find your Apple TV remote in your home.
It's true. It's true.
And your iPods.
The next time I find my Apple TV remote, I'm going to put an AirTag on it. I wish that wasn't true, but it kind of is. I don't know where it is.
Well, let's break here from this scintillating discussion to hear from our podcast sponsor this week.
Paying off debt can feel like an uphill battle, especially if you've managed to build a new gaming system lately and maybe snagged a new 1600 XT or even an RTX 3080, because that sets you back plenty. Or maybe the business slowdowns have put you in a real pinch in your cash flow situation. You might have high interest credit with minimal monthly payments that are practically designed to keep you in an endless cycle of debt. Well, there's a company called Upstart that can help you get ahead of this. Upstart is a fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan, and it's all done online. You could be paying off credit cards, doing a high interest consolidation, or just refunding personal expenses. Over 500,000 people have already used Upstart to get a simple, fixed monthly payment. Unlike other lenders, Upstart looks at more than just your credit score, like your income and employment history. That means they can offer smarter rates with trusted partners. Their mission is to enable effortless credit based on true risk, because you're more than just a single number. Affordable credit matters. It's a fact of life, unfortunately, and you should feel empowered to take control of your debt and financial future. Find out how Upstart and their AI lending platform can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/PCPer. That's upstart.com/PCPer. Don't forget to use our URL so they know we sent you over. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit score, income, and certain other information provided on your loan application. So go over to upstart.com/PCPer and get started today.
We're back. And this time we're going to talk about NVIDIA
Another A word?
and ARM
And our
in the UK and apparently complications of the acquisition. Jeremy, can you tell us more?
Well, I mean, would you have guessed national security concerns being the reason that the UK government has decided to try and get the purchase of ARM by NVIDIA looked at?
no,
Hey,
they made
not
that up.
anti-competitiveness, not anti-monopoly, national security, because how do you politely describe a member of the House of Lords? I don't think you actually can at this point, but
Well, didn't Monty Python do a skit about them?
not just one.
But the guys at the Olympics, what was that called?
Upper class twit of the year.
Yes.
Yes. So one of the winners of the upper class twit of the year competition, in that he actually survived it, didn't just shoot himself in the head. You've got to watch the skit to get it. Has realized somehow that a huge amount of the infrastructure of England is running on ARM processors. This comes as no surprise to anyone else who knows anything about the infrastructure of their company, because guess what? You're running on ARM too. In fact, I dug it out in Q4 of 2020. Just that quarter, during like a really crappy quarter when they weren't really be able to sell stuff, they still shipped 6.7 billion chips. When you talk ubiquitous, you're talking ARM. And so this is what they're going for, is because NVIDIA is going to be buying UK, or buying the UK campus of ARM, and ARM as well, because part of it is Cambridge. They're worried about this. Now, they kind of are losing any argument, because this already happened back in 2016 when SoftBank, conglomeration of a variety of different companies, purchased the vast majority of ARM, and it sailed through with, not much of an objection. So this is just the next roadblock in the middle of the acquisition of ARM by NVIDIA. We've already seen the USA is a little bit upset. Qualcomm, understandably, not really liking this, and we're just waiting to see which other countries are going to pile on, because this is a huge thing. I mean, it's probably not the biggest acquisition in the history of computing from a dollar standpoint, but from just seriously how much ARM runs, it is huge. Jensen promises, there's going to be no changes. This actually makes sense. ARM makes huge amounts of money. Everyone's their customer. Why would you mess with his business model? Then again, it is Jensen. He likes to change things. We're going to see. 2021 is going to be interesting to see how these challenges come up and what's going to happen eventually, or at least how long they delay the purchase, because I don't think any of us really think it's actually going to be held up.
If the UK already approved selling it to SoftBank, then why would they care that a US company, if we're like allied with the UK, then who cares?
There's probably other reasons behind this, and they're potentially using this as a vehicle to put the brakes on it.
Right.
Yes.
Like some pressure from very powerful special interests said, hey, invoke national security. Stop this.
Do something.
And all of a sudden, a bunch of people are going to pay attention where they wouldn't for a monopoly argument.
And then you get the pile on to say, oh, yeah, let's put some effort behind this, and say, oh, yeah, us too. We have concerns. Please, no.
I'd be curious how many ARM processors are actually used in defense. We know that it's finally on Mars, but a lot of avionics and stuff use homegrown chips that are not well known. ARM is well known. The architecture is well known. The designs are well known. Why would any defense group making even turnkey stuff go for an ARM processor when you've got really the first CPU that you could call that was developed for the F-14 fighter in the late 60s, and a lot of those things were eventually kind of carried over, and not directly, but Intel did stuff with the 404 and the 8088 and on to the 8086. But yeah, it just it's frustrating because there's just so much homegrown stuff that they use. Well, I do, but everybody now can have as many teraflops of compute, because back then it was supercomputing laws, and the PS2 was a high performance to do that, just because it had the teraflops. Now you could go and buy that wafer level chip of 3 what is it, not
oh god, it's ridiculous,
trillion, 2.6 trillion transistors that does amazing things with AI. And if you wanted to, anybody really could buy. I mean, it's a supercomputer on a wafer. I mean, sure, it probably takes up 1,500 watts plus, but you can get you buy a graphics card on the black market, which you can do, and that's
you buy a graphics card. Where?
Yeah,
Where?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for a lot of money. For a lot of money.
market.
Oh, okay. Just for a lot of
yeah.
money. Got it.
You can go to Iran, can go on the
free
eBays
shipping
and get
containers full of people.
13 teraflops of performance for $3,000. That's just
true.
insane. Compute is
we gave him the
just-
money.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's not get political here.
Josh, I mean, I love you, but security through obscurity doesn't have a good background. Like, the history doesn't necessarily lead that is the best way to go. It's not the stupidest way to go.
Yeah.
But
I mean, on one hand, you've got obscurity. On the second, you've got something that is tested constantly, and people usually find the faults of it. And through firmware and software, you can work around those faults. You'll impact performance, but so I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a good answer because you bring up a good point. And plus, I'm just not very smart. So
No, you are. No, I'm not. Listen. The GPU.
I can eat
praise.
burgers, and I can eat them well, and I can even describe them
yeah.
somewhat adequately. But that's
And you can
that's-
take pictures,
that's
too.
just-
He seems slightly above average. That's just me, though.
Yeah.
Just slightly above average. Maybe it's in comparison to myself.
Please tell me this next story is just some sort of a horrible
It's not.
joke.
yes, it's a horrible.
I mean, the picture is. a
well.
joke. I mean, Chia Pet. What is this guy again? I cannot remember his name.
Richard Simmons, maybe.
Richard Simmons. That's right.
Richard Simmons.
So not Chia. Richard Simmons.
one more. You can do it. Chia,
but-
Richard Simmons. But now you've got a real reason to hate Chia.
Chia. So Chia is the name of the coin.
Yes, except it's not really a coin; it's a crop. Because you're not a miner, you're a farmer.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. 'Cause
You are a farmer because what you are doing is buying up as much SSDs as you possibly can so that you can mine on them because we haven't ruined enough with crypto coins yet. The idea behind Chia is not so much that you are doing the processing as it is that you have donated terabytes worth of space to the Chia project. And there are various hashes that are stored in there. So the bigger your storage area, the more chance you have that the hash stored randomly on there will closely match the algorithm that was just run because the blockchain needed to be expanded to incorporate a new thing. And so instead of doing all the chewing yourself, the network does. And it goes out and it looks and it finds the SSD that is the fastest to respond and has the closest hash to what they're looking for. And congratulations, you now have a bit more Chia. Or at least you have proof of space and proof of time. Because it is not just, a proof of concept or anything. You prove that you have the space there, and you prove that you had it at that time, and there is a delay in time just to make sure that someone can't do a 51% attack from you, except for the fact that it's built on the entire frickin' bloody system that Ethereum and them want to go to, which is totally and completely vulnerable to the 51% attack, where once you own 51% of the coin, you can essentially just say, nope, those transactions are invalid, it's actually mine. And 51% of people agree with you. To make it even better, and for anyone looking to throw something at someone, this is the guy that put out BitTorrent, Bram Cohen. He's the twat that's figured this out. At best guess, they are going to launch this and already have petabytes worth of these hashes sitting there already ready to go. There is no way that someone joining into it could ever possibly frickin' own more of these coins than the people launching it, because that's a successful business model. Don't get them wrong. That is a very successful way of doing things, but it's also a crap way. It's a dirty pool.
But what if you can try to sabotage them by setting up large arrays of Death Wish raid?
Oh, all we need is Ryan just to set up a RAID and we're done. It will
No.
take the whole day.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about Alan, actually. Alan owns probably more storage space
Yeah,
than any consumer in the world. And
Yeah, his ownership actually moves the
than
needle.
anyone else.
like, if anybody was going to take advantage of this, it would probably be him. But
It
it's,
would. Yeah,
it's
it would.
so...
But even he is going to be tough because these guys have probably been generating hashes since they put out.
Yeah,
their
but here's
first
the thing: Alan actually
fun.
stores stuff on his arrays,
Right, he likes
and
to
so
put
why would
stuff
he?
on his storage.
Why would
yeah.
he delete it to just do that? I don't know.
He wouldn't. You're right.
It's all crap. It's all crap.
So,
Nah,
long story
crap.
short,
It's crap.
at the same time that flash prices are going up and your SSDs are going to get more expensive, the fucking miners are going to be at it, and they're going to go up even higher to the point where there's companies in China that is literally
I've heard they already
pushing.
have.
Yeah,
I don't
So
know.
already
it's
designed and
if you took
selling these
advantage of
SSDs.
that 4 terabyte ADATA SSD for $389, consider yourself lucky because it's now $550.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
And it ain't
I
gonna
loved
get
this comment on Twitter when this story went up. Somebody said, TJ said, next up, mining on monitors. And you know what? What if those old CRTs were great for mining some kind of new or high refresh displays? Like my 144.
If you were if you had one of those sensors that registers the black and white
Exactly.
flashing,
You got to buy a hardware kit
You could totally do that.
and then start flashing, and like your monitor itself. Any video card, even integrated, as long as it can support a high refresh rate, you have like 144, 240 hertz refresh. Think of the mega hash rate on that.
Do you know how
So
many
the
Sony Trinitrons I
millihash
still
rate.
have?
How many
I think I
Bitcoin?
still have 3 Sony Trinitrons downstairs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Those
they're
are worth
both
as much as a
for the
Bitcoin
pictures.
these days,
They might
depending
be.
on which one.
But do you think
I have a 20
FreeSync or G-Sync would be
21.
better?
That's G-Sync. Maybe G-Sync. There'll be an update from NVIDIA to limit
Right, 'cause it
hash
actually
rate of
has the
G-Sync
chip
monitors.
in there.
Yeah, they can limit it.
Yeah.
They'll limit it, but
no
then
more.
accidentally re-enable it through a beta driver.
Or a dev build.
Yeah, it was a dev build.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Did you know there's a remote code execution flaw in Steam? How long has it been there, Jeremy? Years?
Yes,
Months?
plural is correct. 2 years.
RCE
So if
flaw
someone
in
sends you a
Steam.
Steam invite and they can launch any executable on your system whatsoever. Or
Well,
they
that
could
seems
set up like a
sucktastic.
CSGO server and wait for a bunch
Why
of
didn't
people
Valve
to join
ever
the
hire
CS:GO
Peter
server.
Gabriel? Seriously. Anyway,
They at least I got that. Thank you. That was worth it. And yeah, so if you could actually set up a CS:GO server and then just serve this exploit to every single person that was on it. And so Secret Club, which are white hat hackers of some description that I've never heard of, being, a secret club, pointed this out 2 years ago, that there was a flaw in the source engine that let you just run arbitrary executables if someone said okay on a Steam invite or joined your server. And, well, they, much like, their game releases, they sat on it for a while and didn't do anything until these guys finally said, you know what, it's been this long, we're going to publicly disclose it. This is ridiculous, people have to know. And so within 24 hours or so, it had not just been patched, but a sort of an apology went out very quietly. And now they're going to be writing a paper on exactly how this code worked, what was the flaw, and how to exploit it now that Valve's finally bloody patched it after 2 years. It's a little bit scary considering the amount of CS:GO and Team Fortress 2 and other source ports that I've played over the years. Maybe there were some of the reasons for those odd issues I have. Probably me, though.
Our final news story. Discord. Remember when we talked about this a couple weeks ago? Discord was reported by Microsoft. No more. Because, of course, this should surprise no one. They want an IPO. They want to get rich the old-fashioned tech way. They've pursued the acquisition. They're like, we could make even more money. We just have an IPO because IPOs are hot right now. You can't buy any physical goods So you buy stock. So
Yeah, Microsoft would only pony up $12 billion, and that just it just doesn't.
no, they could potentially. Who knows how much their market cap would be? What if they went public next week?
Doesn't seem like enough. Yeah,
That's
I'd throw in
crazy. Just because get the money, get your product integrated into Xbox and Windows 10.
write a
on,
contract
the
that
money
leaves you a
run.
piece of that.
Yeah,
Get a piece of that.
Hey,
And,
mark my words. April 21st, 2021. I hear some skepticism, but Discord's going to be huge once it goes public. Do you know that the big one's going to be Clubhouse? Are they public yet? What is going on with them? But this is the year of audio. Last year was the year of video chat. Everybody's sick of looking at each other. Now this year is the year of audio, with Clubhouse leading the way, and Discord probably looked at that trend with everybody launching their own audio chat drop-in app and says, hey, we've already got voice chat. We've already got all these features. Let's just go public right now at the height of the Clubhouse hotness. That's what, I don't know. This is my completely unresearched opinion here.
All they've got to do is market the right tool set.
Fancy things that are portable that people can carry around and have enabled them to voice chat wherever they go.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new device that people should start thinking about.
I agree with you. I think that could be big. Talking to each other via voice, no video.
We could call it like party lines or something.
but you have to live in Nebraska to do that.
Hey, come on, we had some in Ontario and Quebec too.
And you have to have more bandwidth than a 2400 baud modem.
Yeah.
Oh, there was no bandwidth.
Josh,
Josh, did you
ever see the thumbnail for last week's show?
2400 baud.
2400
Special
baud.
edge.
Yes.
Yes, 2400 baud.
I can tell you were
But
highly
Bundle was
amused.
doing the dramatic look, and so that overshadowed everything. So
He was
wasn't wrong
looking
with that.
disturbed. It's
And away you
very
went.
raw photo editing. Okay.
Somebody labeled it as scared squirrel or something. Startled
Yeah.
squirrel.
He was doing that vintage
Dramatic
YouTube look. Dramatic
squirrel.
squirrel. All right. This
It was
ends
a mirror
the
camera.
news portion of our show. And we go on to reviews. We have 2 reviews this week. Brett, you did a review of some power supplies from Fractal.
You know, I've sort of been known for this recently, for doing a lot of like power supply type stuff. I mean, I guess I've become kind of like the new power supply guy. I'm trying to learn, trying to get a little bit better at it. You know, I'm no previous power supply dude, but
Lee? Lee was
Lee
great.
Garbett was
Lee
was
Robotech.
He had a lot of good stuff. He had a very nice testing methodology and the setup to handle it all. So I am a mere amateur in attempting to,
At least you
try and
can
figure
admit
out.
that. Yes.
I am, and I wrote that, in the review. So yeah, I got a couple of they're right here. Okay, everybody, ready? Let's sing. Boom, 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 boom. I've got the power. Boom, doo, doo. No, that's dumb. I'm gonna put it away.
Yeah, please don't do that anymore.
Put that away. Put that down. Stop doing that. Never sing again. So yeah, Fractal
Correct.
power supplies. I hooked up the 850 to a bunch of GPUs and took a look at them. And they're pretty nice. They're all metal, very quiet. Took a beating and kept on pumping the electrons out. Very reasonably priced. The 850 tops out. That's where the top of their line is. It tops out at $109.99, $109.99. I like Fractal stuff. They tend to provide reasonable documentation, which is just below the what's in the box area here. I like the fact that they include the pinouts and the diagrams and things of that nature to kind of help you along and say, hey, if you need to build some extensions, here's all where the voltages are. These cables, I was not completely enamored by the cable quality. They're okay, although I didn't really like the 24-pin one. It was a little stringy on the ends. Like the Corsair ones are a little bit nicer in that they kind of gather them up a little bit. The rest of them are okay. I didn't really like that one. That one's not very aesthetically pleasing. But it did the job.
Not everything is an Apple product. It's okay.
You know,
it's okay if you're power supply. It's okay if you're
somebody really, really good with that 24-pin pin. That would leave gouges.
Big marks, dangerous. People who go to the hospital after getting whipped by that thing. Absolutely.
You're saying
Although
it's
I'd have to say,
flail-like.
The Corsair one, I would
It's almost cat of nine tails.
In comparison,
yeah.
I would like less to be flailed by the Corsair 24 pin if I was to compare. In all
If I had my
Benchmark,
druthers,
ladies and gentlemen.
I would prefer to be flailed by the Fractal one. The Corsair one is a bit stiffer, a little bit more
Okay.
whippage to it.
Let's take a look at the innards here.
Yeah, actually,
this.
really well done. I have to say, the layout is spectacular internally. No wasted space.
Who makes
Fractal
these
had a lot.
for them?
I don't know. I forgot
We
to
need to
ask.
start finding out. We need to start finding out who the
yeah,
OEM is.
I didn't get back to Andrew on this.
Superflower, is it?
Yeah. Well, I looked at the internals on them, and a lot of these subboards all have Fractal labeling on them, so they had a hand in creating all of it. But look at this beautiful layout. Not
Yeah.
components up against each other, really nicely separated so that they don't overheat a neighbor.
Now, this is not a production model. I'm not seeing all that extra glue and all that stuff they put around these things to keep them from vibrating.
They're fairly clean on the inside.
Really?
Dude, these are renders.
Yeah, these are renders.
Yeah.
But they're actually fairly clean on the inside. Let me tell you that.
But that isn't okay.
But they're nice renders.
They're nice renders, yeah. So, like I
Just
said,
imagine what you're getting.
I see we're doubling up on the power supply testers here.
You have gone to the punchline. So this is my test bench, all plugged into the Thermaltake.
There are many like it. but this
P3.
one is yours.
Where's the 3080? Come on.
Like I said in my my reviews here, I love the 80s. I started with the 1080. I went to the 2080, and I kicked it with the 3080. I did all three.
Oh, nice.
I did all three. Yep. So you can see there's the 2080 in the middle, right there. That's center.
Yes.
That's right there. That's the 2080 EVGA 2080 OC, and the next one is the Supreme. The Supreme.
Yes,
Yeah.
pronounced Supreme, yes.
Supreme. And that's the reason why I had to have two of those devices, because the Supreme takes three. Count them, three.
Yes.
8
As all proper
PCI
graphics
cables.
cards should.
Oh,
For that peak power draw of what, like 460, 480 watts?
I think I got this one up into the low fours, mid fours.
Okay.
Actually, my overclock was not horrendous, but I measured the entire system delivery at a solid mid sevens, closer to 800 watts, right around in that area. And I graphed it. I pulled the I pulled the data as it was flying by, and graphed where a 1080 was, how much it was pulling from an 850 watt power supply. This is amps, so it tops out in the mid mid to low 40s, 40 amps of the entire machine. This is a 10700K overclocked to 4.9. Didn't go super high overclock because I didn't want to mess with the power draw. I just wanted to say, okay, within what the board will automatically deliver, let's push the megahertz to don't crash on me, because I got a lot of tests to run here. But I did want an OC because I wanted it in the zone of enthusiast range, amateur enthusiast range at that. So the next one will be watts, which is probably what would be more familiar to people. So the 1080 was drawing with, this is entire system, so all watts. I mean, I do have plots for individual components, but this just seemed more reasonable just to plot the whole thing. So this came out to almost 500 watts peak with the 1080, the entire system. This is all rails. This includes 3.3, 5 volt, multiple 12 volt rail, or multiple 12 volt draws. 2080, obviously higher. Definitely into the upper 40s. This is getting closer to plus 500, over 500 watts. That's closing in on 600 watts max draw there. The next one down would probably be the most interesting for people nowadays.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
With the 3080 drawing, this is in the mid 60s from an amperage. So definitely, you're kind of going up by 10 amps practically per generation here. Man. And we're kissing the upper 700 watt range. On an 850 watt power supply,
Yeah.
this would normally, and I made an observation here that this would normally push an 850 watt power supply well outside of its efficiency zone. And I got to hand it to Fractal here, and I included the charts up above in the review. This still has this close to 89%, 88% efficiency at an 800 watt, 90% pull, 88% pull out of it. And it was not overdone. It was not cooking. I was making a little sizzling sound, like I mentioned, like, very small bacon sound. Just, you can hear it, right? That tiny little sizzling noise. The fan was not wailing and it was not overheated. I was open air. So, and I made that observation. It was easily cooled because I just had it sitting there, out on the test bench. But it worked great. If you're going to run a 3080, in my mind, an 850 watt power supply is a legit minimum. I shit you not. Did I just say that? I mean, I'm kidding you not at all here. Get an 850. If you got a 3080 with a reasonable CPU that you want to overclock. If you're an enthusiast, that sounds
right. But that's the reality of Intel desktop.
Yeah.
And NVIDIA graphics card right now. That's crazy to me that you can pull almost 800 watts total system from one GPU and one CPU. You don't have like 10 hard drives in there and 30 case fans.
32 gig of RAM, 280 AIO, dual 140s, minor OC on the CPU, like I said, plus 200. So it's 4.90 all core. Trying to think of what else was anything special on there. 2 SSDs, well, an NVMe and an SSD. It's typical enthusiast system. That if you're lucky enough to have gotten a late model graphics card, you have best get yourself one of these.
Do you have a PhysX card?
I'm gonna say no.
How many watts?
Every card's a
do those
physics
pull?
card now.
35, 40 watts.
It gets interesting when you start breaking these out and say, well, how much was the CPU drawing? I actually have that data. How much was the GPU drawing? How much is the rest of the system drawing? It just
What's
would
an
be
Intel
a clutter
CPU? So
of charts.
300 watts, right? About
just
that's
south of
just
that.
the number. And then you add 400 for the NVIDIA GPU.
About 260.
Hard drives, all in one liquid cooler. There's your 800 watts. So an 850 has become the new minimum.
Kind of.
If you're going enthusiast level.
But do you have a coffee cup
750
warmer plugged into your USB?
Oh, yeah.
I might if I let it run long enough.
You know those high speed ports with more amps. You need more charging.
Anyway,
amps for your
this is some really interesting data, in my opinion, and I'm going to be working on this more. I'm going to be working on this more and try and get a test suite going and
it's
figure
good.
this
This
stuff
is
out.
moving in the right direction. I like how you break it down by
I'm
GPU.
trying.
It's more accessible. It's good.
Yeah.
We're advertising our own reviews here. But check it out. The full review by Brett about these power supplies with even more photos than I scrolled through here. Check it out.
Oh, a lot of photos.
I will only cover my review this week for about 1 minute. Don't worry. Just want to show you the inside of this thing. It's a...
Am I going to hold my breath during...
Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath.
Give me the go, and I'll do it.
Josh, I want you. You're an audio guy. You're running some creatives.
Josh, you're going to need to be able to
Anybody
speak.
wants to pipe in. Okay, external sound card.
What?
External sound card.
Oh, here we go.
Let's see. What's in this external desktop sound card, which is like a headphone amplifier and DAC combined. It's the GSX 300 from EPOS. Now, they've absorbed the Sennheiser brand. Now they're kind of doing their own branding. This is still the co-branded effort, but that's changed. Anyway, it supports high-resolution audio, which means it'll do 24-bit, 96 kilohertz, which every internal sound card can do, so that's not really special. What this can do that your internal sound card might not be able to do is easy switching between 2-channel and simulated 7.1. It kind of takes the place of that feature that's on a lot of gaming headsets. Josh, okay.
I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. It was more than a minute, and plus I'm out of shape.
It was like 45 seconds, but...
Shaving cream.
All right.
Okay, continue on.
Let's move back quickly. So it's got the features of a basic gaming headset. It's got a volume dial, or volume knob and a button to switch between 7.1 and 2.0 on the front.
What's the feel on the volume knob? Is it
Okay, it's plastic.
silky smooth?
Let's
is it
move
detented?
past all of that. The sound was a little weak, so I wondered what is driving this thing. What kind of headphone amplification is in this? So I took it apart, and I discovered there's almost nothing inside of this thing.
Wires.
And this one Connexent chip, the CX21988, is this.
How did you get such a nice picture of that? That's
you use
kind of
it?
impressive.
It
Did you use
looks like
Enhance?
chopped.
Did you use Enhance? Used
No.
Enhance.
Nope.
My
That is
God,
just
man.
my trusty Nikon micro 40mm lens
Yep.
on a
Okay.
tripod. This chip
gonna-
is one
I'm
of
gonna
those
take a picture.
ultra integrated chips. It has no crystal. It has all of the amplification on board. Everything is here. It's meant for, and this is tiny. It's meant for one of those little USB-C to 3.5mm cables. This is the kind of chip they put in those. And that's,
It's about 3 resistors tall.
yeah, it's... I said, this component selection seems to validate my impression that the sound from this unit lacks power. So that's the end result, is that this Connexent chip, which it should be in a USB-C cable, is actually in a desktop headphone amplifier, and it sounds like it. So your motherboard audio probably sounds better than this, unless you have serious interference issues, noise, like when you move your mouse around or something, and this would mitigate that. It wasn't loud, but the 2 laptops I tested had higher output from the headphone jack than this did. So
That's disappointing.
yes. So that was my review of the
How much
GSX
does that cost though?
$80.
Wow, that's cheap at half the price.
I was thinking like $39, because at least if you have one of those USB-C only devices and you want analog 3.5mm, it has a mic and headphone jack, but the chip they're using is just not suitable for any kind of desktop.
Dude,
use.
they're like, serious tube amp DACs for about that same price. And I mean, yeah, they're not great, but they're going to be better than that.
Yeah. I can't argue with you. I have a $100 Creative that I bought years ago. It's the Sound Blaster, it's SP1240 or something like that. And it's fine. It's not amazing, but it's very good. And it has a very good analog to digital converter, so you can use it to record like off of old records or tapes or something. And just something you'd think around.
It's pretty flat, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
it's just,
yes.
but it pushes. So,
It
yeah.
has more than enough power. And I was using
Yeah.
very reasonable headphones. It was the 900Xs, the Audio-Technica 900Xs that I bought end of last year. 32 ohm, 100 decibel sensitivity. They're easy to drive, and I was hitting a wall just listening to music with these things. Anyway, let's move.
Hey, hold up. We have a new patron member who just joined. Let me, I just got the flash here. Okay, whoa. What is all this going on with the email? Stop doing that. Stop doing all that. KR Ducky.
Stop.
KR Ducky.
Oh, don't
his-
take his pledge.
His message is, Linux is the superior platform for servers, laptops, and desktops.
It is. You're
in
right.
his honest opinion.
It's the correct opinion.
Oh, Ducky.
You are correct, sir. Move along.
Especially server. If you want a lot of cores, it's like Windows was saying last week. Windows kind of has
Like
a problem
many cores?
with too many cores, too many threads. Not Linux.
It does. It puts on a sad face.
Mm-hmm. All right. Review time is over. We're an hour and 11 minutes into the stream, approximately.
Wow.
And it's
We
time.
didn't have that many,
It was a
You know
light-
what
we didn't have
it was
that
a
many
light week.
topics.
It was a
Yeah.
light week.
Do you know what the penguin on top of your television set is doing?
Who's going to kick us off? Picks of the week. It's got to be Josh, right?
You know, it's so funny. It's so funny that we're talking about audio because
Oh, funny is
discussing
it?
with other people, and you know what? I had to take the dive on this one. ordered it up, waiting for it to come in. I haven't had a Creative Sound Blaster sound card in, I would say the last one I had was an X-Fi in 2007, 2008. And yeah, this is going to be the first one in ages. It actually has the Saber chips in there. It's a fairly high-end card. I mean, it's $141, which is not inexpensive. But, in the big scheme of things, when you can buy a Radeon 6700 XT for $1,000, it sounds much more reasonable.
What's the hash rate? What's the hash rate on this sound card?
Core 3D does not have a hash
Josh,
rate.
$1,000 is cheap at any price.
If it's shiny
If you know
and
what I
made by
mean.
Apple.
Are you my son?
Wait. I don't think so.
No.
Hey,
no, but
I happen to have a few of these anti-static bags at hand. I just wanted to.
Why are you rustling?
Okay,
them? What are you
let's see.
doing?
Let's see your sound cards.
Josh. Okay, this is the one I want to show off here.
Oh.
My, what a big sound card you
Let's
have.
go to my camera here if I can remember how to do this.
You didn't even populate your DIMMs.
No, I don't have DIMMs for this. I don't have any compatible DIMMs. I thought about buying some.
Because that was for the
I might have
sound
some.
tables, the MIDI sound tables, right?
Yeah, that was the mini sound tables. They needed space.
It has some built-in memory. This is an AW32.
But the important thing is it has a game port.
Oh yes.
Give me the specs on your
Bet you
DIMMs. I might have
Josh's
some.
doesn't.
I'll
No,
look
it's
it up.
it's like EDO RAM,
This is the
I
CT
don't think I got
27.
that.
Oh, yeah, it's Edo.
the EDO Sims.
Yeah, they're Sims, not
Single
even DIMMs.
inline.
You're right. They're Sims.
Yep. Yeah.
They were such a popular form factor in the day.
But in terms of overall specs, the card, has some good stuff, and it's got an integrated amp, and it's two different amps, one for each channel when you've got a headphone, which is nice because a lot of the cheaper ones have one amp and they go into two channels, and so this is separated, so in theory you'll have better performance because you don't have okay, think about how how waves do and audio waves and that, and you've got a power source that's trying to do it both. I mean, it's going to get dirty. And so when you have, separate amps doing that stuff, you're going to have better overall audio. Now, as long as your front channel connectors on your case are decent, that'll be okay. But I guess you could probably use the back as well of the card. But yeah, no, I haven't experienced creative software in a while, and let me tell you that used to be an experience back in the day. So I'm looking forward to the challenges that they will provide me with such drivers and features and software. So it's going to be an adventure. I'm looking forward to it. It's something I haven't done in ages. And, audio is important to me. I've got pretty decent sound stuff around me, and I've been using integrated probably since Ozentech was around in 2008, 2009. And then I went to Motherboard. And, yeah, I think your ears just may get a little numb to it. So I'm looking forward to trying it out and seeing how well it works. So anyway, that's my pick, and audio rules, and it's like the only thing you can buy right now.
Exactly.
SSDs, GPUs
Can't hash on it, Josh.
can't
good.
hash on it, and it has no storage,
hash on
but
it.
it sounds good. All
Yeah.
right.
Maybe you're the next wave. You're the leading edge here. You're going to get that sound
Oh,
card.
Lord.
You're going to find out. that
Yeah,
it
exactly.
mines no one.
It's probably got a DSP.
There's a high-pitched squeal. Of course, it mines good.
Well, and next thing you know, it's going to be farms of just a pair of headphones with a microphone aimed at it, and that's
to
how
it,
it's going
yeah.
to do the hash. And it,
Wait, what's this
Yeah.
hand motion you're doing here? What was that again? The finger.
Oh, you
going
don't know
into okay.
headphones and
That's the universal
Cupping.
sign for headphones.
And
Yes.
cup.
Cough.
Yeah. No.
All right, please,
No
Jeremy,
coughing.
save us. What's your pick?
I don't know.
Okay, all right, moving on. Brett,
I literally
no,
just had
Carpal-
to pick.
you don't
Carpal
know?
tunnel.
All right,
Yeah.
no, this is the thing.
Yeah, so in my desperate search for a pick this week, because it's been a week, was, hey, you know, it's been a long time since I've seen a brand new vertical mouse come out, because there are a lot of people that, for, you know, the damage that they've done, it's actually a good thing to have. And so Logitech has put out one of their brand new MX verticals. These guys have been around forever. This one looks a little bit different. If you scroll down, it looks a little high, I think, for a lot of people. That seems, you know, like a fair-sized grip. But then again, with the USB cable right beside it, I may just be looking at it wrong. But so this one is dongled with 2.4 gigahertz wireless. You can use the unifying receiver because, well, it's Logitech. And you can plug it in. It's, you know, it's something that does need to be talked about. That because there are a lot of us that have, with repetitive stress injuries, have hit the point where you can't use a mouse anymore. I am not yet one, but I know that there are many of them out there. And, you know, it's nice to see that you can still get these. I knew a guy that had one with the integrated trackball that used to game on it. He played like COD Blops on it and could actually do it, which was terrifying. At $90, it's a little bit more than you'd want to pay, but honestly, if it really, really helps with your RSI, it's really worth it, and chances are you can get some sort of insurance to play for it. So there you go.
That's not a bad
Forget
price, because
about-
this ergonomic stuff is usually very pricey.
Oh, yeah, usually it's $190. But yeah, so don't...
I did a review of one of these, it looks like 2016, and it was from Evolian.
Right? Like, it's been a long time since I've seen one of these.
And this was pretty tall, too, but it was a chunkier design. I don't know if I have a picture of my hand actually on it, but it was huge. And
Do you still have it? Do you still have it?
I would have to look for it. It's been a few years. Here we go. Here's a picture of my hand holding it, which doesn't really tell you anything because you can't see
No,
the
it
rest
looks
of the
like your hand
mouse. But yeah, it's about the size of a hand.
Except that you were a hand model in a previous life.
Yes. There was probably some photoshopping of some, who knows. Anyway,
You could have done a better job.
here, look, here's a picture of my camera being
Shiny.
reflected inside the light tent. It's very shiny.
Oh.
But yeah, these things, this was like $100 mouse. And it's a very different feel
If you need
to
it,
have your hand sideways on the
worth it.
desk. But yeah, it completely changes. There's no stress on your wrist anymore. You're just moving your arm.
It honestly, it reminds me of a lot of the artifacts from The Expanse. The way that it sort of looks.
Yeah, kind of. Not like the Schwarzenegger Mars one.
Okay.
No, not like that at all.
Brett, I see we're scraping the bottom of the barrel with picks here.
No one was more desperate than me, looking for like what.
I actually have a real pick
I've-
for
You
once.
got a hell of a lead up here.
Josh has a
I
real
know.
pick.
No,
And Brett has this.
no, I've got this. I've got this. If you don't have one of these by now,
My
for
stapler!
God's sakes, man. Yeah, go
Really,
get the
have-
red stapler.
my
Have the red
stapler.
stapler.
Have you seen my?
Hey, I'm gonna.
Have you seen?
I'm gonna.
I'm gonna do the best one. Sorry.
I was
I'm gonna-
told that I could have my radio on at a reasonable volume, and I looked outside, and the squirrels, and they were married, and
And I'm gonna burn the whole place down when I come back.
Get someone seen my
Josh?
stapler.
And make sure that you get the Rio red one, not the brick red one, not the lipstick red
Is
one.
that red? It's hard to tell with your white balance. I'm not sure if it's
Yeah, it's a little bit. The
Is
white
it
balance is a little off. Looks a little orangey. Trust me, this is correct.
I don't know.
this is the correct Rio red. You've got to.
Okay.
Do I have to show the part number
I
or
tried the
something?
boss stitch stapler and it didn't have the same action.
Didn't have the same action.
Have you seen my
If you don't,
stapler?
if you don't have one
I'm
of
here
these,
to talk
go,
to the people. I'm here to talk
go
to the
get
people.
one.
Don't want the
Go get-
engineers to talk to them.
Because talk to the people. I talk to the people, so the engineers don't have to.
What is wrong
know what,
with
I
you
took-
people?
I took something from work too. You know,
Anyhow,
Hey, my pick this week really blows.
Usually.
heard.
It's a compressed air machine. Listen, if you are
Yeah,
like
Ken
me,
already picked this.
Well, I'm picking it again because I bought one of these exact ones. They're about $50. I watched a video by TechMoan on these, and the one that he recommended wasn't available in the U.S. So I found this one, had very good reviews, and it's great. It blows really hard. In fact, on setting 1, it's more powerful than any canned air I've ever used. And on setting number 2, it's excessive. It blows things away. It may even damage things. Comes with a bunch of attachments. You can sort of mitigate the impact of its insane power.
Is that how you did your hair
I'm trying
today?
to remember
Yes.
the one I've got. Green data blower. Let's see if it. No, I don't know. But yeah, no, I bought one of those some years ago. Not that kind, but it's a white one and it's a metal entire covering. And yeah, that thing just it says, you know, if you use it for 5 minutes, you need to let it cool down for like 20.
Yeah.
Now, that's
So
a
it's
machine.
it's awesome. I don't use canned air anymore. It's a thing of beauty. Is it the Metro Data Vac? Here it is. Here it is. This is the one I've got. It's more expensive, but it is. Let me throw it in the
Okay.
PC Republic chat. I've got this thing, and it's a monster. And yes, it's more expensive, but it's all metal, and it's got all the attachments, and it's a 500 watt motor,
500.
70
Man.
CFN, man.
Yeah, that's
70 CFM.
That looks like one of them old weed killers, but repurposed.
Yeah, no, this thing's fantastic.
Yeah?
But mine's cheap.
I mean, it is more expensive than yours, but let me tell you, it's
0.75
it really
horsepower,
pushes
maybe.
it.
That's more power.
Yeah,
More power than I need.
more power.
More power.
The if
Yeah,
you,
you gotta
blow
hold
this
on to
into a
fans
system,
loser.
if you blow this into a
Yeah.
system, your
Well,
fans
dude,
will
that's
make
because you
horrible
snort it.
noises.
Bittering agents do nothing
I
for
huff
you.
it. I don't snort it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure what we're talking
Get
about
it
anymore.
right, damn it.
Actually, I take the machines outside and use the actual garage air compressor. You got to
Okay.
watch spinning up the
How
fans though,
big-
because
how
they'll
big
go
is
into
your-
hyperspace.
No,
Well,
tape those fans
that's
down.
all-
You will generate
That's-
electricity.
It's
The
all
sound
inductance.
that they make.
Yeah.
Okay, Brett, how big is your tank in your garage? You have one of those big.
I think
like-
it's a 33 gallon.
Okay,
It's not huge.
I think mine is 1 or
Not
2
huge.
gallons, 2.5. It's the smallest little Campbell Housefield thing.
Yeah, little
about this big.
little pancake one. Yeah.
And it sucks because you let it run, and it's obnoxious how loud it is. You let it run
It's
for
yeah.
like 20 minutes. You get about a minute
10 psi,
out of it.
20 psi.
Like you let it go up to about 90, 100, whatever its limit is, and then
Yeah.
I can use it to clean one system, and then it's got to get plugged back in again, turn it back on, let it run, let it run. So this is way better, and it's cheaper.
Oh, I hear you.
And horrific systems. I have literally forced them to drive me down to the gas station. Dialed the tire pump
Oh, yeah.
down to the lowest
Yeah.
PSI it will possibly do and blow it out after either, taping or tying down the fans. Because
And have you noticed that the cloud of stuff that comes out of there, there's just no way to like totally avoid it because some of it comes right back at you. and
Yeah, no,
gets
I
blown
try to
out
go
of
outside on the
chunks.
patio, and the wind takes it right back in my face.
Oh, always.
better than doing it inside where it
how.
takes it right back inside the case and just laughs at you.
That's true too.
All right, is there anything else, gentlemen, or can we wrap this show up?
As in like in latex?
Okay.
That's a different show
no,
entirely.
we're wrapping up
It's
in a
on
donut.
after this.
We're wrapping it up. Well, let's say goodbye. I'll just cut most of that and say goodbye this week. Talk
Good
to you
night,
next
Gracie.
week.
Hey, good night. Have a good night.